So I am now recording. So once again, thank you for attending this free Akashic Trancework webinar. As you can see, we are actually here. Hi, Cinda. We like to have nice, engaged, interactive sessions. So we appreciate you joining us today. And I want to talk a little bit about what Akashic Trancework is, and then we'll go into some of our topics today. So in Akashic Trancework, we explore Akashic space, meaning all of consciousness. We explore consciousness by inducing trance states. And once we're in these trance states, we develop an entire set of tools and processes to help us to grow and expand our consciousness. And we've come to understand how consciousness works through many years of study and practice. And we've developed this modality after receiving some very powerful channeled information from the Akashic record. And it's been revealed to us that consciousness expands and grows on a very predictable, repeatable, observable cycle. We call this the ARE cycle. This came from our understanding of the concept of Ubuntu. We arrived at the concept of Ubuntu through a series of channelings. My partner, Astara, came to understand what Ubuntu really means. I am because we are. And over time, we developed this further. It came to us, ARE, we are. We're all connected, but we also go through patterns of growth, patterns of development. And we call this the ARE cycle: activate, release, and expand. Just by seeing those words, most people immediately understand what we mean by that. But I'll talk about those just a little bit more. Activation is when you become aware of something. Oftentimes, it's something profound, a shift in our consciousness, a shift in our understanding. Something changes, and suddenly our universe is not what it was before. It could be due to a lot of meditative work or spiritual work. Oftentimes, it's due to a radical life shift, a change in job or relationship or health or housing. It may be even a traumatic event, which is unfortunately fairly common. Sometimes something intense has to happen to shake us up. But whatever causes it, whenever we have an activation, we have a chance. We have an opportunity to look inside of us, to use our newfound awareness to give us a better sense of ourselves. And more often than not, when we do that, we run into things that we need to let go of. We run into things that we need to release. These can be old limiting beliefs, old traumas, old fears. Maybe they are situations in our lives, jobs, relationships, what have you. Whatever it might be, we become aware of something that needs to be let go of, something that holds us back, that blocks us. And we can choose to not release. We can choose to suppress those things if we want to. And if we suppress, then we'll most likely suffer. And we'll suffer until we go through another activation, giving us another opportunity to release those things that don't serve us. If we don't release, if we go through this suppression cycle, this suffering cycle, we call that the ass cycle. So we are, so we don't become an ass. If we do release, if we allow ourselves to release, then we make space. We make space for the true exploration, the true adventure of life, for thriving. And that can look like a lot of things. It could look like exploring our past lives or connecting with our ancestors, or it could look like just, yeah, we love it too. It really came to us very organically. We've really channeled through a lot of this knowledge. And the expansion phase, that's where this kind of channeling happens. We came to this understanding through our expansion after doing release, after going through all of our shadow work. And when you do all of that, you make space. You make space for whatever it is you might want to accomplish. And maybe it is spiritual exploration, or maybe not. Maybe it's just a new job, a new career. Maybe it's a new art project. Maybe it's just learn how to relax and take care of ourselves more. It could be anything. The point is that we make space. So in order to do this, in order to have conscious ARE cycles, because we go through these things all the time, but we want to be able to do them consciously, we access trance states. So let's go through what our agenda for our hour is. First, we'll be reviewing some tools we can use to access trance states, which allow us to explore this ARE cycle and explore ourselves at a deeper level. Then we'll talk a little bit about astral boundaries, how we cultivate safe practices for trance work. We want to make sure that we're always safe, always protected when we do these things, when we explore these deep inner spaces. And then I'll take you on a guided journey for about 5 to 10 minutes. I'll just guide you through some visualization and breathing practices that will help you to access some of these states. And if you're not in a place where you can do that right now, that's fine. You will receive a later recorded version of this in email if you're signed up, which you are. If you sign up for this webinar, you should be on the email list. And then after that, we'll go through just a brief Q&A if you would like to share about your experience or ask any questions about the experience. We're here for that too. So let's talk a little bit about trance states. Trance work is how we move through the ARE cycle intentionally and consciously, and it's how we explore ourselves, explore our subconscious minds. The subconscious mind really is where everything happens, where most of our life is. If you think about an iceberg, most of the iceberg is beneath the surface of the water, and you might see a little tip of ice above the water. But most of what's happening, most of the substance of what's happening is beneath the surface. So to really heal ourselves, to really empower ourselves, we have to engage with the subconscious mind, which we do through our creative, imaginative capacities. And to do this, we need to know how to access our many different senses. We have many different senses. The Egyptians taught us that we have 360 senses. We don't have a concept for most of these things in English, in our culture. We might think about our five senses. We might think about our general sixth sense, an intuitive kind of feeling. We sometimes talk about clairaudience or clairvoyance, but we don't really have concepts for most of these senses. In Akashic Trancework, we want to understand. We want to explore our senses. We want to explore who we are at a deeper level. So to do that, we have to understand the ways that consciousness works, the ways that awareness works. And we can actually measure that. We can measure consciousness on a machine, on an EEG. These are the brain waves that we can measure on an EEG. You may be familiar with these. These are fairly commonly known. But let's take a moment just to kind of look at these. Look how tight the beta waves are, and look how relaxed the gamma waves are. It's all about relaxation. How deeply can we relax? How deeply can we let go of our need to be always on, always active, always alert? Beta states are present when we're very alert, when we're active, when we're engaged with the world. I have a lot of beta activity happening in my brain right now because I'm engaging. I'm actively engaging with my outside perception, with the outside world, with my physical space. It's a great place to be if you need to get anything done in your day. We all need to have enough beta activity to move through the world, to fulfill our responsibilities, to go to work, take care of our children, whatever it is that we do. Beta activity is very important. But we don't necessarily want to cultivate getting to beta states, although some people need that. People that have a hard time making appointments or doing basic things in their lives or fulfilling obligations probably need more beta activity, especially if they have low energy. Beta waves help us to feel more energized, more active. But in Akashic trance work, we want to focus within. We want to focus on that inner space. So we go primarily into alpha and theta states when we induce trance states. We'll talk a little bit more about those. Alpha states are that kind of relaxed, daydreamy, meditative state. They're also the state that we achieve when we use teacher plants or hallucinogens. It's a very kind of relaxed, very introspective, very meditative, contemplative state, but you're still pretty much engaged with the world. You're still alert. You still know what's going on around you. You're not asleep, although you might feel kind of drowsy. They're very powerful states, and we'll talk a bit more about that here in a moment. Delta states are when you're fully asleep, when you're fully relaxed, when you have no awareness of what's going on around you. Delta states are very healing. We need to be able to go into delta states every day enough to do any deep, restful, rejuvenative healing that we might need to do. A lot of very powerful healing can be done with delta states. We work a lot with people just to help them relax, to rest through breathing techniques, through sound healing, through tonal techniques, through a number of different processes. We can do a lot of work in delta states, but primarily we try to avoid taking people into delta states deliberately. If the body goes there, that's fine, that's good, that's what you need. But we mostly want to cultivate theta states. Theta states are very powerful places because that's where our dreams happen. Normally, when you go to sleep, you'll go into a delta state first, physically relax, and then you'll go into a theta state where you can do your dreaming. Dreaming is where we really do our inner work. Dreaming is where we engage with the subconscious mind, but most of the time we don't remember our dreams or we don't have the ability to control what's happening. In trance work, we want to induce theta states without falling asleep so that we can engage with the symbolic, creative capacities of the mind so that we can do this healing, empowering, exploratory work. And we'll talk about that here more in a moment. And then there's the gamma state. And we like to equate the gamma state with what we call heart-centered awareness. When we're living fully heartfully, fully compassionately, fully present, it's that state of bliss, that state of enlightenment, that state of pure joy for the sake of being alive. It's not the easiest thing to cultivate in our world. There's a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. So cultivating these gamma states, it's not always easy. People that have been meditating or doing trance work for a very long time slip into those places easily. But as we get started in this practice, we have to spend some time cultivating our heart-centered awareness so that we can go to these gamma states, so that we can just kind of live in this joyful, blissful state. And it's not going to be like that all the time, but the more that we can cultivate that awareness, the more that we can thrive. And we want to thrive, right? We want to go beyond just surviving into patterns, behaviors that help us to thrive, help us to be happy, help us to enjoy life. And that's that gamma awareness. We don't induce gamma states the same way we would induce an alpha state or a theta state, because gamma states tend to arise spontaneously as we do these other practices. So those are our brainwave patterns. Excuse me a moment, just wetting my whistle. So let's talk a little bit about the alpha trance state and what it's good for. So most people go into alpha trance states very easily. It's that daydreamy, relaxed, spacey place that a lot of people go and a lot of people try not to go to because our society really looks down on people that are alpha trancers, as we like to call them, people that tend to be able to float off into their imagination, into their inner space very easily at will. So most of the people that are attracted to Akashic trance work alpha trance very readily. The trick is for most people like that to learn how to come out of it when they need to, and also to intentionally get ourselves into that state. We want to be able to bring ourselves in and out of that state, knowing what we're doing, intentionally going there so that we can explore, so that we can understand how our different states of awareness work. This alpha trance state is so powerful because it gives us access to our astral spaces. So when we talk about astral space and Akashic trance work, we're talking about everything that's inside of us. Most of the time, when people talk about astral space, they're talking about what's outside of them, right? About traveling out into an astral dimension or to the astral realm, doing an out of body experience. And those things are great and those things do happen. But we first begin to engage that astral space. Sometimes we call this fourth dimensional awareness as we go within to this alpha state. As soon as you begin to imagine or think about your feelings or have introspective thoughts, you're in an alpha state. So we want to find ways to cultivate those states, to bring ourselves into those states very easily. And we've developed some very easy methods for doing that. So the primary methods that we use to bring ourselves into alpha states are the breath and the tone of our voice. If you're familiar with yoga or with meditative practice that uses breath counting or martial arts or anything like that, you understand that the breath is the key to relaxation. It's something that will actually shift your awareness very quickly as you start to change your breathing. When you intentionally breathe a little bit more shallowly or a little bit more deeply, it changes your awareness, it changes your perception. We've all experienced this. So we just want to be mindful of that and see how can we change our state of awareness, our consciousness, intentionally using the breath. Relaxation is everything in this practice. We need to have our bodies relaxed so that we can have these astral experiences. So the breath is the first tool we use. For most people, we found that alpha breath is about 5 seconds on the inhale and 5 seconds on the exhale. It may vary a little bit depending on your lung capacity, but for most of us, we don't want to go beyond 7 seconds. When we go beyond 7 seconds, we're relaxing deeper, we're going to a deeper place. We want to just keep ourselves lightly relaxed, still engaged, still alert, able to communicate if we need to, but just reflecting and imagining and visualizing. So I invite you, if you would like to give it a try, just relax, sit back, and I'm going to count to 5 on the inhale and 5 on the exhale. And we'll just do this for about 30 seconds. In, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's very relaxing, very easy to do. The nice thing about breath practice, you can do it anywhere, anytime, but it's not always ideal. Some people don't like to count breath. Sometimes there's so many thoughts and feelings going on that no matter what happens, we can't really relax enough to fully engage that alpha state. We become agitated, maybe a little anxious, and that brings us back to a more beta active state. So there are other methods for inducing this alpha state. Among them is toning. So let's talk a little bit about toning and what it is. Toning is using the tone of the voice, using the different modulations and frequencies that we're capable of producing with our voice to stimulate different parts of our bodies. And we found that by doing this, we can very easily and very specifically induce different states of awareness, different states of consciousness. It's very easy. It's a lot of fun. It's very natural, and anyone can do it. If you can produce any kind of sound with your voice, with your vocal cords, and you can do this. And if you think about how you can control where your voice is, you can have a high pitched voice or a low pitched voice. You can control the pitch of your voice. And when you do that, you can feel your voice vibrating in different parts of your body. You can feel it vibrating up in your nose, down in your throat, down in your chest, even down into your stomach. You don't have to speak really deeply to do this, but you can feel the resonance shifting through your body as you do this. And with toning, you're not trying to say anything. You're not using words. If you're familiar with mantras or chants, or sometimes people talk about toning into the different chakras, this is similar, but you don't have to do anything special like that. You don't have to make any specific sound or specific note or specific frequency. All you have to do is just vibrate, hum into that part of your body. The same way that if you were modulating your voice, if you were trying to speak with a low pitched voice or a high pitched voice, you have the ability to control where your voice is vibrating in your body. Vibration is everything, resonance is everything. It's the structuring force of the universe, and sound itself is the most healing thing there is because it restructures our cells. We do a lot of work with sound healing and Akashic trance work, but if you can just use your voice, if you can just tone yourself down into a different state of consciousness, then you can really master the process of trance work, the process of inducing trance states in yourself and in others. So, to tone into an alpha state, we want to just kind of vibrate, hum into our face, into our third eye, into our brain. We're activating our senses, we're activating our inner senses. So, I invite you to try it with me, and if you can't, try it later. But it's very simple, and we'll do this just a couple times. So take a couple natural breaths and relax a little bit. Breathe in deeply. Mm. So it's that simple. You're humming into your face. Try it again. Mm. That's all there is to it. Feels really nice. You can feel the vibration in your face and your cheeks and your eyes and your brain. And it's so relaxing that it's a great tool just to relax, even if you don't care about getting into a trance state. Using toning, just humming, can be very relaxing. And when you become aware of how much the toning, how much the tone of our voice really affects our states of awareness, our states of consciousness, you can really begin to explore. So, explore with toning, explore with breath, see what works for you. But these are very simple tools you can use anywhere in the woods, in your bedroom, walking down the street, at work, in the car. Although, don't relax too much in the car. You don't want to do that too much. But these are very useful techniques that can be used pretty much anywhere. So that's the alpha state induction process. Let's talk a little bit about the theta trance. So the theta state is what people are usually talking about when they refer to a trance state. It's that deep place of full engagement with our astral awareness. It's where those astral journeys take place, where we can leave our bodies behind and travel to different dimensions, travel to different levels of awareness, going through shamanic experiences, going into a hypnotic experience, really allowing ourselves to fully and deeply engage with the subconscious mind. So we go into that place pretty naturally when we're sleeping. But in order to really engage with our Akashic awareness, to really connect with our past lives, with our ancestors, with our spirit guides, to do the deep healing, trauma clearing work that so many of us need to do. And so many people come to us needing to clear, needing to release. The theta place is where we fully and deeply engage with ourselves, letting go of our bodies. And to do this, we need to really relax. Our lower selves need to relax so that we can feel safe. We need to feel safe enough in our bodies to be able to go into these astral experiences. So, any induction process for getting into a theta state is going to involve deep relaxation. But we don't want to get too deep, and that's kind of the trick. How deep can we get without falling asleep? We want to get to that edge. We want to get as close as possible to a delta state without falling asleep. And that is that theta place. It's right between your alpha and your delta states. The theta sweet spot, we call it sometimes, because we want to master how to get there and stay there and then come back out. When we talk about Akashic record readings or past life regression or things like that, the theta state is where it happens. And we want to be able to remember those experiences. We want to be able to take ourselves or take others down to those theta states, have an engaged experience, communicating sometimes with a guide or recording what's happening, and then come back out. And that's a retrieval. We're retrieving Akashic knowledge, reading the Akashic record. If we can learn to do this, then we can harvest, we can harness some very powerful, very useful, very healing knowledge from that deep place, from that deep Akashic space. So, just like the alpha state, we have some very specific, very easy to use tools for getting ourselves down into these different states. We have to be able to relax. People that cannot relax cannot do effective trance work. You have to be able to choose to relax. So these methods help us to relax, but we have to make the choice. We have to choose to use them and choose to engage them and choose to receive them. So the breath that will relax us into a theta state is for most people 7 to 9 seconds. 10 seconds if you have a lot of lung capacity. Don't go beyond that. If you breathe too deeply, you'll take yourself into a state of sleep, into a delta state, which is fine. If you need to do that, do that. But we want to cultivate theta states. So we want to keep our breath a little bit shallower. We want to keep it at about the second deepest breath we're capable of doing. Your deepest breath will put you to sleep. So your second deepest breath, slightly less deep, slightly shallower than you can possibly do. And we'll count. So we'll count in for 7 and out for 7. And we'll just try this for a couple cycles because if we do it too much, we'll really go into that theta place and we won't be able to talk very well. So sit back if you can. You may want to rest your head back a little bit if possible, but it's okay if not. If you can't do this right now, try a different time. It's very relaxing. Feels really nice. So I'm going to count in for 7 and out for 7. In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's very relaxing. It's very calming to the body. And that's what we're doing. We're calming the body enough so that it feels safe enough to allow us to have that astral experience. I love this graphic. My partner, Stara, found this. And it really shows the dynamics at play when we're going into a theta state because she has the wolf there. The wolf represents the lower self, the survival mind. And as long as it feels safe, as long as it feels protected, then we can have these astral experiences. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to relax ourselves. We're trying to feel safe. So the other method that we've cultivated for getting ourselves into a theta state is toning. And as we mentioned before, toning is very easy. It's a very primal thing. If you think about how a mother relaxes a child, how do they do that? Through humming, right? Through soothing breaths and soothing sounds. Toning is basically the same thing. We're soothing ourselves, we're relaxing ourselves, and most people really take to this practice. The theta toning process is most likely my favorite thing to do in the world, one of my favorite things, because it's so relaxing, it feels so good, so easy that most people can very easily and very readily do it. So I invite you to try it with me or try it at a later time if you can. All we need to do is just tone into that space between our heart and our solar plexus. That's all we're doing. We're just humming into our heart space. So take a deep breath. Mm. It's very relaxed. Don't force it out. Just breathe in. Mm. Again, it doesn't have to sound good. You're not performing. You're not singing. You're not trying to sound good. You're just vibrating. You're just vibrating your voice into different parts of your body. And if you can master toning, then you can bring yourself to any state of awareness very quickly, very relaxed way. It's a lot of fun. You try it with some children, if you have a partner, anyone that is in your life, it can be a lot of fun, a great way to connect, great way to get other people to relax and sink in and engage. So, those are our trance state induction processes. Question is, what do we do once we have gotten to a trance? Most likely, once you begin to look at yourself, once you begin to spend some time with yourself, there's a lot of stuff going on, right? You have thoughts, ideas, feelings, visions, memories, beliefs, concerns, worries, fears, people you're thinking about, situations you're thinking about, maybe your job, maybe your bills, maybe something else. There's a lot of stuff happening inside of us. So, how do we create space to do this work? Well, we have to do it. We have to create space. We have to intentionally create astral spaces, astral structures. In the same way that in physical space, you have a shelter, hopefully, you have a shelter, a place where you can go to relax, to rejuvenate, to let down your guard, to eat, to rest. You can decorate it how you want to. You can let down your guard and just be yourself, however weird you want to be. You can do that in your physical space, hopefully. But oftentimes we don't cultivate that space within ourselves. So if we don't have an astral space that we can go to protect and cultivate our energy, then as soon as we go within, we're sort of victims to our own minds. We just go wherever our minds and thoughts and feelings take us, and we don't have any discipline. We don't have any structure to what's happening. So, astral boundaries, the creation of astral boundaries, allow us to protect our energy. We often talk about boundaries from an interpersonal context, right? This person outside of me is allowed to talk to me or communicate with me or touch me or be in my space. This person's not. These are my limits. This is what I'm allowing people to do. But when you think about someone, if you're thinking about anything, if you're worrying about something, if something is coming to your mind a lot, if you're always concerned about something, that person, that energy, that being, whatever it might be, they are within your astral boundary. You are giving them time and energy. Whatever you are thinking about is inside of your astral boundary. If you're thinking about something all the time, if you're thinking about someone all the time, then you are giving them energy. You are giving them time. There are many beings in the universe that want our energy. Everything in the universe is competing for our awareness, for our attention at all times. And it can be very exhausting. A lot of people, a lot of empathic people, we work with a lot of empaths and seers and sages and mystics and healers and people like that, devote so much time externally, so much time to other people that they don't cultivate astral boundaries for themselves. Conversely, people that spend a lot of time alone, they might spend time studying or doing self care, maybe, but are they really cultivating space for themselves? Are they really focusing on their energy? Are they focusing on creating spaces within themselves so that if and when something comes along that wants their energy, they're not thrown for a loop? It's easy enough to cultivate our energy if we spend a lot of time alone. But are we prepared to protect that energy, to ensure that we are mindful of how we share that energy when other beings come along that want it, that want to connect with us, that want to learn from us, that want to maybe take our energy because they want something from us? So, regardless of whether or not you have a lot of alone time or if that's almost non existent for you, cultivating these astral boundaries is very important. If we can learn how to have boundaries with our own thoughts and feelings, then we can have boundaries with any being in the universe. We can protect ourselves from any being in the universe. So, to do this, we first want to create an intentional astral space. And the primary intentional astral space that we create, we call a safe space. It's a place where you feel good. Most of us can imagine or remember a place where we feel happy. By far, the most common astral safe space that people call upon when they do this work is the beach. I would say at least half of the students and clients that I work with, when I take them through this exercise, they summon up a beach. Why? Because a beach has a lot of positive associations for people, for many people. And they can easily imagine it. They can easily remember beach experiences. They can remember the water. They can remember the textures of the sand. They can remember the smells and the sounds of that place. It's all about association. What places do you associate with happiness, with comfort, with joy, with peace? That's where your safe space is. It doesn't have to be an actual literal place like this. It could be a sort of abstract place. Some people are just floating in space or floating in water, but we want to have positive associations. Our bodies remember all of the positive things we've experienced in life, as well as the negative things. And oftentimes we tend to focus more on the negative things than the positive things. And this gives us an opportunity to create an inner space, a safe space where we are pouring in our positive energies, where we're cultivating, we're bringing in the things that give us joy. This safe space, we equate this with the heart center, with the actual physical heart, even. It's that place that allows us to fully rest into ourselves. It's that center of our being. It's that place of unconditional love and compassion. This practice seals trance work in. It seals us in safely because we're going to that infinite well of love and compassion inside of ourselves. But it's not automatic for most of us. We need to bring in the things, we need to cultivate the things that bring us joy. We need to laugh. I love these people. They're all laughing, they're all happy, they're all smiling. Why? It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter why you're laughing, why you're smiling. But we need to cultivate these feelings. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe it's easy for you to summon up joy, but most people struggle with this. Most people have a hard time just feeling joy for its own sake. So, this practice, this exercise allows us to bring in the things that make us happy. All of the thoughts, the feelings, the memories, the sensations, the textures, the songs, the poems, the colors, all the things that make us happy, we bring into this space so that we can have a boundary, so that we can buffer ourselves from those things that want to take our energy. There's many things that want to take our energy in life. But when we have a place of joy, when we don't feel lack, when we feel abundant with joy, then there's nothing that can touch us. We have to cultivate this energy. We plant seeds. You can think of it almost like a garden. Where you plant your seeds, what you water, how much light you give it, that will determine how effective this astral boundary is. That will determine how much you are able to really experience safe astral journeys, safe trance work. It's very important. Self care, time for ourselves, quality time with ourselves. Maybe you spend 24/7 alone, but how much of that time is quality time? And if you're very busy, maybe all of your thoughts and feelings are engaged with something else, maybe with children, maybe with a job, maybe with a partner. And in that case, it's even more essential to invest time in ourselves, to spend some time with ourselves. We don't want to spend all of our time with ourselves. We want to pour into other people. We want to have relationships. We want to connect with people. That's what life's about. This isn't about just spending time by ourselves and just sort of narcissistically focusing on our own needs. This is about really pouring into ourselves so that we can be more effective people, so we can be more loving, giving, compassionate people, be more effective parents, partners, coworkers, colleagues, friends, humans, more effective humans through the simple contemplation, the simple cultivation of our energy. I love this woman here because she's just spending time with herself. She's reflecting, literally, and she's contently just looking at herself. And that's really what it's about: content, contemplative reflection. And this heart space, this safe space, allows us to do this. It allows us to really cultivate our energy. And when we do this, we're always safe. We're always protected. No one can take that space from us. If we have a physical shelter, a physical structure, that can always be taken away. It could be knocked down or someone could kick us out. And we don't have a lot of control over that sometimes. But we always have control over our inner space, over our astral space. No one can take that from us. Nothing can take that from us, no matter what our external conditions. So that is the astral boundary. And I want to thank you for taking time to listen to me talk about that. I love talking about this stuff, so I'll go on and on about it indefinitely. But I wanted to take about 5 minutes, and if you're in a place to engage with this, I want to invite you on a quick guided journey so we can explore some of these things and explore some of our astral boundaries. So if you're available for this, I recommend sitting back, good back and neck support. You may want to lay back. It's up to you, and I'll give you a moment to just relax and get comfortable. Just take some nice, easy breaths. Sitting back and making any adjustments you need to make to get nice and cozy. Relax completely. There's nowhere to go, nothing to do right now. This is time you've set aside for yourself to just fully and deeply relax, relax into yourself. We'll begin with the 5 count in and the 5 count out. Inhaling for 5 and exhaling for 5. Begin now. Breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And breathe and relax. Begin to just observe your thoughts and feelings passing through your mind, moving through your mind. Just observe, just watch, just be present with your thoughts and feelings as they rise and fall. Just relaxing, not judging, not analyzing, not pushing anything away. All thoughts and feelings are okay. All thoughts and feelings are part of your experience. Continue to breathe and relax. You will now breathe deeper, counting to 7 on the inhale and 7 on the exhale. Breathe in now. In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Relax. Relax deeply, but don't fall asleep. Remain awake as you imagine a safe, warm, happy place, a place of peace, a place of happiness, a place of joy. It can be a realistic place, an abstract place, a place where you can fully and deeply relax, connecting with yourself. Bring in those things that make you happy. New people or pets who come in. Embrace them. They are your guides, your ally. Spend some time there in that space, just relaxing. Engage all of your senses. What colors are there? What texture? what smell, what sound. Be there fully in this place. Only loving energies belong. You may find things arising that bring you discomfort or distress or just distraction. Things that are asking for your energy and time. People, maybe, or energies, memory, responsibility, obligation. You can send those things away from this place. Let them know that you will deal with them later. You will give them the time and attention you need. For now, for these few moments, you're pouring into yourself. You're cultivating yourself, spending time with yourself. This will allow you to be a more effective person, a more empowered person. You may find that some of those things resist, some of those things don't want to go, and that's okay. This is an opportunity for you to create an astral boundary, to create a rule. How much of your time do you spend on those things, on those people or situations, memories, thoughts? How much energy do you give them each day? It's time to choose. How much of your time will you give away? How much of your energy will you give away? It's good to be compassionate. It's good to help others. But you can also help yourself. You can also spend some time with yourself. Maybe you have lots of time for yourself. Maybe that's not an issue, but still, what do you think about? What do you feel? What do you remember? What energies are seeking your time and attention? It's time to choose, to create boundary. How much time will you give them each day? An hour, 2 hours, more, less? Just take some time to create those boundaries and choose. How much time will you give yourself each day? How much time will you spend here, nourishing and nurturing yourself? Spend at least 1 minute each day here in this space and decide how much energy, how much time you want to give to those other things. It's your choice. Take just another moment to set any remaining boundary you may need to. And when you're ready, slowly and gently begin bringing yourself back to your physical body, to your physical space, stretching and moving your fingers and toes a bit, but remembering how to get back to that space anytime very easily just by breathing or toning yourself down into a place of relaxation and remembering the space you made, remembering the intentional astral space that you made today. So I want to thank you for joining us for this session today. If you would like to engage with us further, we'd be more than happy to. There is a worksheet that comes with the email, with the intro email that you got, and there also will be one provided in the follow-up email that we send. So we invite you to fill out that worksheet. It's a TransWork self-assessment, and if you submit it to us, we'll give you some feedback on your experiences if you like. We also offer free consults, and we are now offering an Akashic Trancework initiation course. And if you would like to learn more about that, if you'd like to learn how to induce these states in yourself and others, and how to explore them safely, and the different ways that we heal and empower ourselves and others through trance work, we invite you to take a look at akashictrance.com/initiation. We also offer private sessions and readings. So take a look at our site, akashictrance.com. If you would like to reach out to me individually, feel free to do so. You can also reach out to Astara if you have any questions or thoughts or feedback. Again, thanks for taking the time to connect with us. Deepest blessings. Have a wonderful day. Till next time.